With Arc 7 fully underway, we've seen an interesting development where Subaru has forsaken the chance to help Vincent and instead opted to go on his own path with Rem and Lewis. Despite this though, many people suspect that due to Priscilla's involvement in Arc 7, this will result in Vincent's eventual defeat at the end of the arc. This is actually something that I personally believed in myself initially. However, I think that a lot of us are severely underestimating Vincent, so I wanted to build a small case as to why I believe that all of us shouldn't just write him off as someone to be defeated in this arc. To start with this video, I need to talk about Vincent as a character. Vincent is extremely smart and wise. We already know from the Vincent side story that Vincent set up Subaru as a bait character. He essentially gave Subaru the dagger so the assassins going after him would actually go for Subaru instead, and regardless of what would have happened, he was going to make use of Subaru to reclaim the throne, as we know from Arc 7 Chapter 12. We also know that in EX Novel 4 he went toe to toe with Miklitov and pretty much destroyed Bordeaux during their initial meeting. Remember, Miklitov and the Council of Wise Men essentially run Lagunica. They're all old and extremely wise, and a young Vincent has been shown to easily outsmart them and orchestrate the events of EX Novel 4, and we see that he essentially manipulated the situation to get what he wanted, which was a non-aggression pact with Lagunica. We also know from the Crimson Afterglow side story, we learn that Priscilla Barriel's real name is actually Prisca Benedict. Since Prisca was also an heir to the Wallachian throne, she partook in the Wallachian Empire's emperor selection. As you can tell from the rezero story, Prisca lost and Vincent became the emperor. So why am I mentioning these things? It's very simple. There's one very interesting parallel that most people have missed, which led to Prisca's defeat in Crimson Afterglow. What this was her most loyal companion at the time, Arachia. Arachia feared that Prisca would lose the selection. Losing the Imperial selection means death, so Arachia made a deal with Vincent and betrayed Prisca on the condition that she would be allowed to live. The incident is interesting because it's one of the few times we see Prisca care for someone. Arachia forcefully drank poisonous alcohol, which caused her to collapse, and she would have died. However, Prisca intervened and essentially sucked some of the poison out of Arachia to split the burden between them, allowing both of them to survive. Prisca would then take up the name of Priscilla and escape Wallachia. Now, for those of you who are familiar with the side story Presentiments of Chaos, this should strike you as something very interesting. Heinkel literally brings up this point to Schult, explaining that Schult is the one thing that Priscilla cares about, and that people would take advantage of that factor. We've seen in Declaration of War and Shadows of Conspiracy that Priscilla didn't care when Al was dying, yet she is very fond of Schult. Vincent has already used Arachia to his advantage, and with Heinkel noting that Schult is a weakness of Priscilla's, Schult could essentially be exploited and be the downfall of Priscilla should Vincent capitalize on it. We know that the nobles of Wallachia and higher-ups have rebelled against Vincent, which again is most likely led by Priscilla's camp, and Vincent has asked for Subaru's help, to which he declined. However, I believe that Arc 7 is still setting the foundations. We know that Garfiel, Roswell, Otto, Priscilla and Al have still yet to make an appearance. I feel like one of my commenters hit the nail on the head. Subaru will most likely meet Al and Priscilla very soon, which will cause him to rejoin the Shudrak people and Vincent's cause. Story-wise, it makes no sense for the 12 chapter setup with Vincent to simply amount to nothing, and should Subaru join Vincent's side, we will finally get the Subaru vs Al battle and the Vincent vs Priscilla battle as they fight over the throne of Wallachia. In other words, based on the way the story is going, and Vincent's skill of manipulation, as well as knowing who Subaru is, I feel like he'll get Subaru back on his side, and I don't think it's clear cut as to say that he will be defeated by Priscilla. I theorize that Priscilla will actually be humbled in this arc. That's my take on it anyway. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know. Anyways, thank you for watching and thank you to my channel members. I'll see you guys next time.